Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last in our series of classes for 2021 from the Family History Center, the Sandy Granite Family History Center. I'm Bob Ives. I'm the Assistant Director of the center and in charge of technology for the center. We welcome you here tonight. We also welcome our guest, Richard Miller. And I have a prepared thing here for Richard, but I want to tell you a story. Um, Several years ago, my partner and I, Bob Taylor, the family history guide, we were exhibiting at Roots Tech. And one of our workers, who was off duty at the time for our booth, came over and she said, "There's a guy over there you guys need to look at." So we thought, oh, okay, what is he got? 3 legs or something? What do we need to see? So we went over there, and Richard was there, and he had a booth. I think that was your first year
First year.
roll out for Goldie May. And we looked at him and what he had, and we were really, really impressed with what he had done with Goldie May. And then Bob Taylor and I went back to our booth and talked about it, and that was kind of history. That started a relationship between Richard and Goldie May, and one that you'll hear more about tonight. It's really a great thing that he's done. He's putting it together. A little bit more about Richard. He's an engineer, well, software engineer, and he might want to tell you a little bit more about that and what's going to happen. And he's creator of Goldie May, of course, and which is a Google Chrome extension program that he'll tell you more about. And it acts as an intelligent personal assistant that will guide you through some essential research tasks that you might have, especially things like the US Census and whatnot. So it's a really, really good piece and good little extension program to have in your quiver if you're doing a lot of research. So one other quick thing, if you have comments, you can either bring those comments to us. We'll have a Q&A at the end. And then also you could post your comments on the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, and we'll bring those to Richard's attention at the end. This recording will be posted on the Granite Family History Center's website, which is www.granitefhc.com. And once you're on the website, you can click either on the schedule tab or on the resources tab. And most of the programs and classes that we've had over the last year and a half to 2 years are recorded there. And this class will be up, posted in a couple of days. Well, it might take a little longer because of the holidays coming up, but definitely by the first of the week, it'll be there and you can watch it 24/7. So without further ado, we'll turn the time over to Richard Miller and Goldie May.
Okay. Hey, Bob, thanks so much for that kind introduction. And yeah, I was able to meet the two Bobs at that Roots Tech. And you told me it was BI and BT. So I learned the code language. Uh, I'll just jump in here to Goldie May. Hope everybody's having a good holiday season so far and happy Thanksgiving. So yeah, as Bob mentioned, Goldie May is a research assistant for family history research, and it's installed as a Chrome extension. So if you go to www.goldiemay.com, you'll see this big button to install Goldie May for free. And then if you click over to the Chrome Web Store, it'll have a button that says Add to Chrome. And since I have it already, it says Remove. So I'll just kind of start from there. You could go to that website to get started yourself. But then once you have Goldie May installed, you'll see this G in your Chrome browser. If you don't see it, then it's under the puzzle piece. But if you'll click that G icon, you'll see a window open up to the side. And this is Goldie May. So Goldie May is this window off to the side. It keeps your family search window open on the left. And then you can just kind of adjust the size to whatever you prefer. You know, you want half and half, or do you want a little more of the family search window? Just get those windows just how you like. And then the idea is that Goldie May is an automatic research log and a research assistant for the research you're doing. So let's suppose that I want to start looking at a research project. I can click over here on New Objective, and this will kind of kick things off. And here I can put in a title and just say I want to confirm the parents of this family, and I'll show you what this family is. But we can go into, let me just pull up one of the families I was working with here, and let's go to recent people, and we'll go to, let's go to Leonard James Wilson. Okay, so the idea is that you could take this family search ID that you've probably seen many times and click on add person and add this into Goldie May, and now you're researching on Leonard James Wilson. And let me just show you some of the highlights of Goldie May, and then you can explore it more later. But the idea is you can turn on automatic logging. So if you were doing some opening up various pages, doing a search for Leonard James Wilson, as you go, as you've done your research, you've probably pulled up several links, maybe in new tabs. I'm holding down the Command or Control key while I open up a few tabs. And you'll see these tabs open up in my browser. Well, as those open, Goldie May is keeping a log over here of the various pages. So if you hover over any of these links, it will give you the address back to these pages. And so if you were to leave your research for the day, come back another day, all that research would be there for you logged. And then the idea is that you can treat it a little bit like social media, where you can put a heart on something, or thumbs down, or you could leave a comment and say, this was helpful for such and such reason. And so it allows you to kind of replace what you might have been doing on pen and paper or in a spreadsheet, where you want to track everywhere you've been, make comments as you go, and keep track of all your research. So Bob mentioned this as a Chrome extension. It's also a cloud service. So when you close Goldie May and say you go to the Family History Library, the Family History Center, and if you put Goldie May on the computer at the library, then you can open up Goldie May, log back in, and all of your research is right there where you started, because the research is kept in the cloud. So that's a convenient thing that you can kind of take it with you everywhere you go. And one other thing you might like to see is that if you're looking at a particular record, maybe the original, you want to just check on whether it looks right, you can choose, I'm right clicking and I can choose take a screenshot. And so then you can take a little screenshot of the portion of the record you want, and that will also be saved to your log. So that's a nice way to keep your research with you as you go places, and often as you come back to it. So the idea is that you'll just accumulate a bunch of projects or objectives here on this list, and when you want to go back into one of them, it's right there for you. One other thing I want to show you is the task list. So it's what you'd expect. You can put various tasks into the list and check them off when you're done. But one other feature of Goldie May is that it has suggested tasks. So you can click this button to add suggested tasks for Leonard James Wilson. And now it gives you a bunch of things you could potentially do. And this is where some of them you'll know how to do, but it's just to remind you to do them. It's just to kind of keep you on track. So for example, it says review the family search timeline for clues. And if you click it, it opens the timeline. And so it's telling you just to check that. And then likewise, check the research helps. And you can open that one. And then there's a few that are related to places, and then there's a few related to the census. So you'll notice that it's giving, for the span of his lifetime, it's saying that the 1830 U.S. Census, and then a couple Canada censuses, and then all the way down to the 1920 U.S. Census might apply to Leonard James Wilson based on his lifetime. And so this is to help you remember to do it, and then also you can see what age he would have been at the time of each census. And if you click on a link for, say, 1900 U.S. Census, it has a link directly to the 1900 census for family search and ancestry. So there I click that, and then I've opened up that US Census for 1900. In this particular case, I know I'm looking for a 70-year-old. This isn't the full breadth of all family search records. It's just that subset. So it's a really nice way to look for the person you're looking for. Now, throughout the presentation today, I think it'd be nice as you think about your own genealogy research to think about the principle of remembering to think about the place. And so it's sometimes too easy to think of your research as putting in names and just kind of looking for all the Leonard Wilsons that are out there. But you can really zero in, if you can really zero in on the place, you're more likely to find the matching Leonard Wilson. And so Goldie May and other tools are really want to help you do that. One other, to that point, under the tab for Leonard Wilson, you'll find a places tab. And here this is showing all the places that Goldie May could find from Leonard Wilson's entry on the tree. And so if you scroll down here, you'll see that he was born in Ontario, Canada, and then you can see the various residences in Iowa and on. And now each of these links has multiple links underneath them. So say you're not super familiar with York County, Ontario research, you can click on that link, and it's got a link directly to the Family Search Wiki for that particular place. So you'll click any of these links that are helpful to you to get familiar with that place for your research there. And then if I click on Ontario, you'll see a link to the Family History Guide, and there you can read all about the Family Histories Guide, information about Ontario, Canada. And then there's the same for Canada. There's a lot of sources for Canada, including the Family History Guide, and then the various catalogs of the large genealogy companies, etc. So there's just a lot to look at, but the idea is to save you time by not forcing you to go to Google and type in, find the particular link you want. It's all right there based on the location that your person lived. So then collection hints is kind of what you saw earlier in the to-do list. It's just kind of another way to get there. And then vitals and family is just the details that you probably already see in your tree or may already know, but while you're searching and you're kind of browsing through various records, say, search results page over here, it's sometimes helpful to look back over and say, what was his birthday again? Or what was his wife's name again? And so that's what it's trying to do there for you, is give you that ability to keep things all in one place in front of you. Maybe sometimes you're likely to write something on a pad and then look down at it. And Goldie May, as much as possible, is trying to help you keep all of your research on the computer where you can keep it safe and where it can travel with you as you go to various places for research. If I had if I wanted to make an arbitrary note along the way, I can put that in status update, and then I can search for various notes that I've left before and kind of bring to my memory all the research I've done up until that point. So that's kind of the basics of the research log. Maybe the one last thing I'd want to show you is that at the bottom, you can export the log as a CSV file. So that would allow you to take all the entries out, open them up in a spreadsheet or some other program that's of interest to you, and then, slice and dice it however you want. But that can be a useful way too, to just take all the information and reevaluate it in another program. So that's a popular feature. Okay, so with that, I want to click over to volunteering. This is kind of a whole other section of the app. And this is not your research, but this is a kind of collaborative, altruistic effort to do family history for the Family Search tree. And so this could be a great activity for youth, for people wanting to learn more about family history. If your tree is really done, and it's never done, but if it's to the point where all the work is hard and you just need something else to do, you want to just enjoy the part of family history of making connections and helping another family, this is a great way to do it. My wife has said that she likes volunteering because she comes from a long line of pioneers, and her tree is really done. And while we know there's more to do and there could be errors to correct, or lines to take back farther, it can be tedious, and that's the really hard work at that point for her tree. So with volunteering, she's able to kind of get in that spirit of family history research by helping others with it. And so the idea is you could pick a place or surname that's of interest to you, or you don't have to pick any at all. And then you'll just click start. And what's going to happen is it's going to bring up a record hint from the family search tree. So this is as if you've gone to Robert Clifton McCracken's page, and you can see off to the right it says, hey, there's a hint for the 1920 census, and then you click it. Okay, now you land here at this search linker page, it's called. So this is the linker page. So as you look at this, if you've used this page before, you're familiar with the green. So the green means that these names of the record have already been attached to the names on the right from the tree. So you're looking at the 1920 census on the left, the tree on the right. What's missing, though, is this Robert McCracken, who's a son of these two, hasn't yet been attached to the tree. So we could do that manually, and we could just, he looks like a super solid match for this family because he's, all the other members of his family have been attached to the tree, but he hasn't. So we could go ahead and click add and attach. But Goldie May can help you with that. So instead of having to do the clicking yourself, you can actually click this gold button, attach records. And then I'm no longer clicking, it's done the clicking for me. And then it just said, hey, you've finished attaching this record. And if you're satisfied with that work, you could go on to the next one. So let me just show you a couple more of those. So the idea here is, we're helping another family to do this so that they help build out the tree. This we'd want to compare names and dates, family members, see if this is really a good match for this family. And the idea here is that Goldie May just wants to help you do this and make this easier to see. So let's just, I'll show you this. If you click show all people, I'll make this a little bigger. Show all people, then, show details is what I want. Then you'll see that all the details tabs open up. So this is a nice way to just scroll down and compare the places and the dates and just make sure this is a really good match as a family, and then you could hide details. But with that done, we can click attach records, and that will attach that last member of the family. Let me just do one more for you. Okay, so here we have a lot of the families already attached again. There's just one person left, and when I look at Iva L. Cragg versus Evelyn Cragg, there's some similarity in the way that sounds. And that feels like a pretty good match for me based on the rest of the family being already attached. So I'll go ahead and click attach record. And now you'll see below that there is one, and this might be a case where, let's see, this looks like, this may be double attached. I want to show you this James W. Cragg. So this is a member of the family who was born in 1925. So that was less than 110 years ago. So we can't automatically attach him to the tree because he might still be alive. So Goldie May calls this done. Congrats, this is done. But if you want to take it the second mile, you can just look at this blue box that says search for death records, and it points out that James Cragg, is not attached yet. We can search for James Cragg in the family search death records. So I click this link, and hey, up pops up. Is this the right guy? It looks pretty good. James W. Cragg Sr. If I go back to my first tab, James W. Cragg, born 1925, and he was born in Georgia. What came up for me here is an obituary. An obituary. We could go look and see if the obituary says that this James Cragg was born in Georgia too. But you can just start to look through these records and say, hey, I think I found some proof that James Cragg has actually passed away now. And if so, then we can manually add him to the tree here and complete the family on the family search tree. So I just wanted to show you this volunteering tool. I think it's a great way to get in the spirit of family history research and get practice too, because you get a lot of of good repetition. And the repetition is in the thinking and the analyzing and deciding whether these are good matches. But as much as possible, Goldie May wants to take away from you the repetition of typing and searching and clicking. That's the stuff that a tool can help you with. And this is a case where Goldie May does want to help you with that. So that is the volunteering tool. And now the last thing I want to show you is I've talked about Goldie May's free features up until now. And I want to also just mention to you that Goldie May has a paid side too, has a subscription. And so if I'll give you a little preview of what's in the subscription service. And I'm just going to go behind the scenes here and turn on the pro plan here for my demo account and refresh. So now when I go back to the research tab, there are a few other features in here that you didn't see before. One of those is that it will track citations. So as we log different pages through various sources, it will keep as much as possible. It'll track the citations that it has found in the various records along the way. So if for example, if you go to this record on Family Search, it has a citation for this image. If we log this page, Goldie May will copy that citation over into the log. And then you can either use it here in the log, or you can export it to another file and then use that. So for someone who needs to keep the citations, needs to keep track of all the details of where everything came from, that pro feature of citations could be really helpful. And then one other feature I really like is the workspaces feature. So this is the idea that you want to just take a snapshot of everything you're looking at right now and come back to it later. If we've got 12 tabs open and say we research longer, we could have many more tabs open and several windows open. But if we just click Save Current Windows and Tabs, it will just track all the tabs that are open, and we can, if we were to close this, come back later, I can just click this button, Open 12 tabs. They'll all come back right as you're seeing them right now. And so you can just have your whole workspace saved for later. Okay, so then last of all, the other kind of new feature that's just come out in the last few weeks for pro users is the subway map. And so I want to have a little bit of time to talk about this tonight. This is a new take on a timeline, and I guess it came out of my trying to understand in my own research where someone was at a certain time, and who was there with them, and when did they move. And so I guess the concept came that maybe it could be like a subway map, where it's simple lines with colors, and you have these little subway stops that represent the points along the way where we have records that someone was. So I'll just show you a couple of these. Here is one for Leonard Wilson. Okay, so what you're looking at is along the bottom is the timeline of his lifespan during every 10 years. And then you'll see the locations where he lived along the side. And then these white subway stops represent the various places that know he lived. And these come from the tree. These are based on the facts in his vitals and the facts in other information that you kind of see on the left. So this is letting you see kind of where he was. And you can change some of the details on this. You could change from a county view to a state view, and then it looks a lot more straight, right? You see these straight lines, and then you see at the high level he was in Canada, and then Illinois, and then Iowa. And we like these really horizontal lines because they just show consistency in where he lived, and that's what you generally expect, that migration would have been expensive, difficult the farther back in time we go. And so we would expect people to generally be in the same place, all things being equal. But the diagonal lines in the subway map are these areas where we don't know where he was. So he was born in Ontario, Canada. The next point we have was that he was age 20 living in Illinois, but we don't know what he was doing during those 20 years. So the diagonal line doesn't mean he was, slowly walking between those two places. It means we don't know. We'd probably expect that he either, maybe he lived in Canada till he was 19 and then came over, or maybe it was over to 10 and then down to Illinois. If you see a diagonal line on the subway map, you're looking for more detail because you'd like to know where he was in those intervening years. If you see kind of a straight up and down line, that's really nice because it could mean that it's kind of a migration from one place to another. And in this case, within a 3-year period, he's moved from Illinois to Iowa. So, you saw the county view before, and it gets a little zigzaggy. And so this is, one of the benefits of the subway map is that when you see that zigzag line, you're going to want to ask yourself if that's correct. And, did he really move from Adair County, Iowa to Madison, then back to Adair, then Polk County, Iowa? Maybe you'd want to get out a traditional map and just look at those 3 counties, Adair, Madison, Polk, and see if, does it make sense for those counties to be near each other, or with these full-blown, moves across the state. And you'll notice too that several of the dots are from the children. So if I choose to turn those off, if I turn off show childbirths, the line gets, there's fewer points in the line. And what that's saying is, this is kind of embodying James Tanner's first rule of genealogy, which is when the baby was born, the mother was present. And so, this is a father, not the mother. But if we expect the father to possibly be present, generally be present, and then the mother to always be present for the birth of their children, then when we, if we scroll down on the tree and we look at the birthplace of each of the children, William, Flora, Ernest, etc., and then plot those into the line, then we get a kind of stronger picture of where he was. And if something looks off, then that one of the children is, belongs to another family, for instance. So let me just show you a couple other examples here. Okay, here is here's one where we're kind of taking it at the, England as a, country inside the country of United Kingdom. But if we treat it as the 2 places she lived were England and Utah, then it's a really straight line. It's really, really smooth. But if we switch back to that county view, then it gets really zigzaggy. And so we want to ask, okay, what's going on here? If we look across this horizontal area, that's where most of the children were born, in Huntingdonshire, England. But there's this one little outlier, born in Suffolk County, England. This is Francis Dunkley. And so, we want to ask, like, what's going on there with the, with this other child. And, if you need to turn on more details, there's these checkboxes down here to show more of the children. So like you could show this, this child is Harriet, that's living in Suffolk for her whole life. So you start to think, is this child that's down here on the tree, Harriet Dickerson, is she really part of this family? She could be part of another family and was accidentally attached to this family because her name's so similar, or the parents' names are similar. But the subway map's trying to really reveal to you what potential areas of concern are, and then you can work to figure out what the answers are. One other thing I want to show you is, let's look at this one. Okay, I thought this one was an interesting one for the subway map because it has a directly vertical line. So we have 2 entries for Moses Spillers in the 1940 census, not just one. And so that would raise flags. We shouldn't have 2 censuses for him of the same decade. But I looked into it, and he was a traveling salesman, and it appears that he was away on business, and his wife must have counted him and had him enumerated at home, but then he was also enumerated at his in his place of business at the time, which was Virginia. So that's why you see this vertical line. So I thought that was an interesting one. And then one other one I want to show you is this. Okay, here I'm not on the page of an individual. I'm on a merge page, as if I'm trying to evaluate whether these 2 people are a match for each other and whether they should be merged. And here the subway map comes up again, and it brings up a line for each person. And so you can see the red William Dalton is these 3 points here. The green William Dalton, is a longer line, and they look like a perfect match, right? So for the part where the lines overlap, they're exactly in Hampton, Massachusetts at the same time. I could just take the granularity even finer and go to the city level, and they're in Holyoke the entire time. So, I would want to evaluate the information on the left as well, but using the subway map, I can see this to be a really clear match. And so that's a case where just knowing the places, and whether you were to do this on paper or some other program or the subway map of Goldie May, being able to focus on the places really helps you see the big picture and help you kind of evaluate and analyze what you're looking at. So I like that one. Let me just go to William Johnson. This was one other one where there were big zigzags, and so let me just take it to the county level. But this was a case where most of life was lived in Millard County, Utah, but then you get a couple of these kind of big zigzags out. This was okay. It's to Salt Lake. If I switch this to the state view, then it looks really normal, right? Most of life was lived in Utah. But then you get this one point that's sitting out there in Missouri. And so then, what was it? It was the birth of Dade Ashbury Johnson. And if I scroll down here, there's this, he's got his one family and then this other wife and other daughter. So, okay, did he really, leave Utah, go to Missouri, and he fathered a child with this other Sally Johnson? Or was this record accidentally attached because it's a common name, Sally and Sarah Johnson as wives just, rang too true and someone attached it? That's a case where I'd really want to look into that. And I'm a little skeptical that this is, that this is really part of the family. So I want to, for this pioneer era family, ancestor who's had a lot of research done on him, it maybe just reveals that there's always more to do, and there's always corrections we can make to get the families in the right families and make sure that everybody's in the right place. So that's a quick run through of Goldie May, all the big features. I could maybe, Bob, I'll just pause here for a moment to see if there are any questions, and we could go take it anywhere we want from here.
Yeah, I haven't seen, nothing's come up on chat,
Okay,
so we're good to go.
good. Okay, well that is a quick rundown of Goldie May. I'm trying to build this to be the research tool I want for my own research. I worked at genealogy companies for several years before and wasn't a big researcher myself. And so this is kind of my first time of life really doing genealogy in earnest and trying to build the tool that I want to help with this. And so I hope it's really useful to other people as well.
Well,
Thanks for the time, Bob.
you're certainly welcome. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And I had gotten behind too on a few of the things you've done. And I can't wait. I'm ready to dig in.
Yeah. I think last time we talked, I had censuses for the U.S., Canada, UK, and since then I've added Denmark and as many censuses as I could find, basically, for country level censuses. So there's even from the last couple of rootstocks, there's a lot more since then.
Okay. Yeah, but it's really great. And I'm assuming the pricing for the pro version and everything is on the website.
Yeah, that's right. You could find that at goldiemay.com and then scroll down and there's a place where you see the pricing and then kind of the featured differences across the versions.
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Well, you've done a great job. And
Thank you.
Keep it up. It's been a lot.
Thanks.
And again, for those of you who want to view the class presentation at another time, it's at www.granitefhc.com, and you can find it there 24/7. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight. And thanks, Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.